Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's another check-in at the end of the month. Today it's 1st May, it's Labor Day, so it's a public holiday, and I'm filming my video for my April check-in. Initially I wanted to film this last week, well, the last weekend that just passed, but then I didn't feel like it, and I thought since 1st May was a public holiday, I thought I would wait until April was really over and then I would film my check-in. I almost didn't want to film this check-in actually because I thought that I didn't really have much to say, or I didn't think that what I wanted to say was worth sharing, because I was thinking, and I go through this phase every single month where I'm like, I don't know if you can hear, but they're doing the election thingy where they go around in the van speaking into the loudspeaker. But that's just the season of this time. I think that's also something that I wanted to talk about. Not about the election itself, but just about how I've been feeling this whole month. Or last month, I guess. Sorry, what was I saying? Oh yes, I was saying that I almost didn't want to film this April check-in, and I feel like I go through this every single month with every check-in, because I'm like, who really cares to listen to how my month went? But here I am anyway, and I always have to convince myself not to care too much and not to put so much pressure on myself. I think especially for this month, for the month of April, I think because I ended May with a pretty strong conviction on making April better, because I said March didn't really go as I planned, and now I'm back here again a month later to say that April didn't really go how I planned either, and so it doesn't feel like I've made much progress because of that. But at the same time, I was just thinking to myself today that at the end of this whole project, the person who really benefits is me by making these check-ins, and then hopefully I'll have a series of check-ins at the end of the year that I can look back on and see where my headspace was at. I feel like I've probably said this in my March check-in also, but what matters most is the checking in. I think I was putting pressure on myself to have like an insight and some sort of accomplishment that I can talk about in these videos, but really all this check-in is doing is checking in, as lame as that sounds. And I don't need to put so much pressure on myself to have some sort of neat conclusion to end off the previous month or anything like that. So all that to say, this will just be me sharing what has happened in the month, some of my thoughts about it, how it has impacted some of the goals that I set up for myself, and also creating some kind of public archive for myself. But anyway, let's get on with the video. So maybe I can start with just an overview of how the month went. I think it was a difficult month. I feel like I said this in March also. It was difficult in that it was the festive season, it was Hari Raya season, and I don't really want to say too much also because this is a public place and there are some things that I don't want to share too much without context. So unless you know me personally, it's not something that I can share very easily. But overall, I feel like the past few years, the Hari Raya season has always been very difficult and honestly not very fun. So it's gotten to the point where I'm starting to dread this time of the year every single year, and I'm just wondering what on earth I'm gonna do next year. So I feel like that affected my mental health and my motivation and just generally how I went through my day for a few, like almost 2 weeks, to the point where I impulse booked myself a short weekend trip to Bintan. I'm really not the kind of person to like impulse book myself a holiday, so I think this is the first time I've done that, and it's also because I've been to the resort before, and so it's a familiar place for me. I knew what I could expect from the resort. Because everything around me was so unpredictable and haphazard, I just wanted to go back to a familiar place, and that is like the resort that I have been to before and that I had a good time at. So I was in Bintan for the Good Friday weekend, and then after I came back from Bintan, it was election season already, so the conversation shifted to election season and all the news headlines were just about that. And it's not so much that election season itself stresses me out. I think it's just the hyper focus of everybody on this very significant political event that's happening. I think overall I just feel like my mind has been taken up by issues and topics that are foisted upon me rather than me seeking out these topics and subjects myself. So overall, I think that's just the vibe of the month. It just feels like very mentally draining and overwhelming for me. So yeah, looking back, I think those are the two main things that have contributed to the feeling of overwhelm and feeling like I don't have the mental space to think about other things. Sorry, it just sounds so vague. I don't know if it's some sort of mid-year, and it's not even mid-year yet, it's like the end of April. Some sort of mid-year crisis, or it's just getting into the thick of the year, the middle of the year, and I'm just craving some sort of clarity. Like, I just want 1 week where I don't have to think about anyone else except myself. So that was where my headspace was at the end of April. It's still kind of where I'm at right now at the beginning of May. But I'm hoping that May will be slightly easier. Now that Hari Raya season is out of the way and election season will soon be ending after polling day. I don't know. With that, maybe I can go into my goals, which almost feel silly now to talk about. I don't know why, but like the idea that I'm still holding on to these goals that I haven't been very successful in seem almost kind of comical to me, but I shall talk about them anyway. And I guess I need that structure in my life to remind myself that I am working on something right now and my life is not just one endless day bleeding into another. But anyway, so my financial goals. I think last check-in, my March check-in, I said that I wanted to do a low buy April. That went completely out the window for very predictable reasons. Main thing being that I was very stressed and shopping is my coping mechanism. Not the healthiest, but it is my coping mechanism right now. And I don't know why I didn't mention it in my previous check-in video, my March check-in video, but my low buy April actually excludes clothes because I've been on this journey to update my wardrobe. And so when I said that I was going to do a low buy April, that low buy excluded the category of clothes because I was thinking that if I come across like a piece of clothing that I think would fit in my wardrobe, I will go ahead and get it because it's not that I buy clothes very frequently and I'm very picky about the kind of clothes I buy. All that to say, it didn't include clothes. But I think because I set myself this low buy April and I knew that I had this exception of clothing items, I abused that loophole to no end in April. But I also feel like ultimately I will wear those clothes in the end. So it was more the reason driving the purchase, and that was to escape the negative feelings I was feeling. So a lot of those purchases happened very close together rather than spaced out over a longer period of time. But also, I don't know, I mean, I think because my mental headspace was where it was at last year, it kind of tainted the purchasing decision and I questioned whether or not it was made in good faith, like with a clear conscience, or if it was driven by the need to like escape my feelings and so I bought those things. But I think also other than the clothes, I think I'm harping on too much about the clothing items that I purchased. I also bought a lot of other things that I knew that I was buying just to make myself feel better. Like I bought a new bottle of perfume completely on impulse, and the hilarious thing is I bought it when I was very stressed, thinking that I just needed some retail therapy, but the thing hasn't even arrived. Like as I'm saying this now, it actually got lost in the mail. And so I messaged the store and they said that they'll send me a new one. And I don't know, I have this horrible feeling that that second parcel might also get lost in the mail because it's shipping from Europe. And as I'm checking the parcel tracking number, it's still processing even though it's been more than 48 hours. So I don't know, if this one also gets lost in the mail, I'll just ask for a refund and then at least I'll get my money back. But yeah, so that was the situation in April. It got quite bad actually because the clothes plus the impulse spending on things that I really shouldn't be impulse spending on, it completely depleted my medium-term sinking funds. So my medium-term sinking fund is basically my pool of money for things like purely for shopping. So basically it's kind of like my shopping fund, and it's a pool of savings that I tap into throughout the year, and I completely depleted that. So that was a real, I don't know what's the word, like moment of reflection for me, that I had to stop myself and think, what am I doing? What state am I trying to achieve by spending money so recklessly and aggressively? Even though I know it's money that's meant to be spent, it is supposed to be spaced out throughout the year, but because of how I was feeling, I shortened that timeline to spending it all within just a month. And I guess that is my moment of weakness, I have to admit. I'm sweating just talking about it because it just makes me so uncomfortable to admit. But don't worry about me. Everything else is fine. The overspending did not exceed the shopping fund, and I am able to replenish it with my new budget and also with the various credit card cashbacks that have been coming in at the end of the month, and I've been selling stuff on Carousel, so I have been able to rebuild it. But it's just a reminder of how dangerous stress can be for me if I'm able to make such impulsive decisions with my money. But at the same time, I'm also grateful that I've created such a buffer for myself that I am able to have these moments of indulgence and moments of weakness and yet still not affect the rest of my finances. So I just wanted to say that in case you're worried, and also to remind myself that everything is okay. So in May, I don't know, I don't wanna, I feel almost scared to like set something so limiting on myself. Like I don't want to say, okay, I'll do a no by May. I think I'll just try to keep within budget. That's my goal, just to keep within budget for my shopping, at least for me, and see how things go. But of course that's dependent on how things go in May and whether there are any more stressful situations that will pounce on me and affect my logical and clear-headed thinking. So that's how my financial situation went in April. And then my other personal goals, the first one being going to yoga. So I'm putting gym on hold until I finish my yoga membership, and May is the last month for my yoga membership, so I'm just trying to go as much as possible and then start going to the gym after that, which is just nice also because there's the Active SG vouchers coming in June, so it's just perfect timing. When my yoga ends, I can use the Active SG credits to pay for my gym entry. But anyway, in April, because of everything going on, I basically didn't go for yoga for the first 3 weeks of the month. But I think something changed in the last week or so, and I've gone to yoga 3 times at the in the very last week, so I'm quite proud of myself for doing that. I even went yesterday, and it's tough. Part of me is kind of excited to get yoga over and done with because I'm getting quite tired of being limited to just those few sessions in the week that I'm able to make for class, whereas gym is usually more flexible. So I do get quite sad sometimes. I think when the class ends and then I think that I probably only have a few more sessions with this instructor before I never see them again, and then that makes me quite sad. But for the most part, I am looking forward to finishing my membership. And yeah, I think in May I just want to get back on track with going for yoga again. I've done pretty well in the last week. I went 3 times, so hopefully I'll be disciplined in May as well. So that is my fitness goal, I guess. And then for my goal of becoming a morning person, so this is where I feel like I'm gonna modify my goal a bit. I think waking up, so my original goal was to wake up at 6:30 a.m. and it's proven just almost impossible for me since January. It's just been very, very difficult, and I think it's because it requires me changing my entire lifestyle. And this month, I think I haven't woken up at 6:30 even once. When I was in Bintan, I think I woke up at like 8 a.m. just to go for breakfast, but then I would come back to my room and then just take another nap. And that's just been the theme of this month. I think sleeping is also a way for me to cope with stress, and so I sleep in a lot more. And I don't know, I just feel like it's very difficult for me to want to get out of bed because I don't know if it sounds very bleak, but there's almost nothing that is exciting me enough to want to wake up for the day. Like, I find that a huge struggle. On the better days at least, what has helped me is just letting myself wake up at 7:30, and that is still early enough that I still have most of the morning left, but not so painful and ambitious as like 6:30 a.m. So I think for the rest of the year even, I might just change my waking up goal to 7:30 a.m. I can try for 7 if I have an early night, 7:30 if I have a slightly later night, but 7:30 is my goal to wake up for the rest of the year. I think 6:30, maybe on like really good days when I am able to sleep early, but my priority now is to just get enough sleep, so 7 to 8 hours, and then hopefully wake up at 7:30 a.m. So no more 6:30 a.m. because I just think it's too difficult. And the days that I was able to wake up at 6:30 a.m., I found myself getting a terrible headache in the middle of the day. Like in the afternoon, I'll just have a terrible headache and I'll have to take a nap. But sometimes even the nap doesn't help, and then I'll have to take Panadol, and I just feel like, what's the point of waking up early if I'm just gonna struggle with this horrible headache in the middle of the day? So yeah, unless I'm able to dramatically change my evening routine to be able to sleep at 9 or 10 p.m, I think waking up at 6:30 a.m. is maybe doing more harm than good for me at this point. So that's my second goal. Now lastly, let's talk about my YouTube channel. So that is my third goal. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've only uploaded 2 videos between my last check-in and this check-in that should be my next video on my channel. So I think it was a vlog, and then it was my dental routine video. And the main reason why there's only been 2 videos is because I've slowed down a lot on my pace of editing. Right now, the biggest roadblock in getting videos up is more so the editing than the filming itself. I don't know if it's just me or the way that I edit, but editing is such a long process, and maybe because I'm not very efficient at filming these videos, and that's why I have to edit myself so much. But that's the biggest roadblock in getting videos up, and because I'm trying to take things slower and be easier on myself, the time that I would spend editing has shrunk quite significantly, and so it's taking me longer and longer to get videos edited and ready to be uploaded. So that's one major factor. And another thing that I've been thinking about also is that, specifically with regards to the vlogs that I make, I love making vlogs. I think vlogs are it's a very low effort way of making videos. It's more low effort in terms of planning for the videos, and I do think it's fun to be able to capture my day. But the main issue that I have with vlogs is that I had this thing of like filming in advance. Like, I'll film maybe 2 videos a week, and then I'll space those out in terms of uploading them. It's gotten to the point, along with my reduced editing time, I've realized that a lot of the vlogs that I've pre-filmed have not even been edited. So I have a vlog that I filmed back in March, and I'm still editing that now, and it'll probably only be published in like mid-May. And so, I mean, the video, it's not so much the vlog itself that's the issue, but I think for me mentally, it's like I'm editing something that is almost not relevant anymore. Like the me that is in the vlog that I'm publishing is so outdated, because that was me in that headspace 2 months ago. It's almost, there's a disconnect with the me in May editing myself from March, if you know what I mean. So I think I feel like that affects me more than it affects the channel. It's like my check-ins are more up to date with where I'm at mentally and how I feel than the vlogs are, because the vlogs have been pre-filmed so far in advance and I just haven't gotten around to editing them. So I think I had to cancel one video because of that, because I mean, firstly, it wasn't a very well planned vlog that I filmed. I filmed like a pack with me for Hong Kong. I didn't really plan for that video very well, so I just thought it was very messy and long-winded, so I'm cutting that video out of my lineup. But even the vlog that I'm currently editing, for instance, it's like from when I first came back from Hong Kong, and so my mental headspace it's just so behind now that I'm even filming my April check-in, so it just feels very outdated and irrelevant almost. And that's why I feel like I have no motivation to edit it quickly. So yeah, I think what I'm gonna do for now is just to finish up the backlog of videos that I've already filmed, and then moving forward, at least for the vlogs, I hope to edit them and publish them almost immediately after I film them. So if I film a vlog on one Sunday, hopefully I can get that vlog published by the following Sunday, or at least 2 Sundays later. Because otherwise it's just really weird to have like a vlog released in May but filmed way back in March. So as an audience member also, I think, I don't know, is that weird? Because then a lot of the things that I say in the vlog might be outdated if you've already watched my check-in videos. Or at least that's how I'm reasoning it in my head. And also I feel like it'll just make me more excited to publish vlogs as soon as I film them. Then I feel like at least it'll be more immediate in the relevancy of how I'm feeling and what I say in those videos. I don't know if that makes sense. I think with the speed of my editing, I might only be able to publish 2 videos in between check-ins. I think that might be my new standard now, rather than 1 video a week without fail. I think that might be my new publishing schedule. But I don't know. I think there are a lot of other things that I need to get sorted in my life before I can really think about improving the quality of my YouTube videos, because I feel like they have gone down in usefulness a bit since I started the channel. But that could just be me. Sorry, I had to take a break to cool down in front of the fan for a while because I was starting to sweat a lot. Yeah, that is the situation with my goals. So to summarize, I'm hoping for May to be better. I think in May I'll prioritize getting enough sleep, finding more time for myself, and that also means going for yoga. Yoga is, or like exercise in general, is part of that effort to take care of myself, and being less hard on myself for YouTube related things while also still trying to be disciplined about it, and also trying to get through the backlog of videos that I've already pre-filmed. And then once I do that, I'll be able to think more clearly about the direction of the videos that I want to make in the future. I think I have 2 or 3 more videos that are pre-filmed, and so I can just focus on editing those before starting to make new ones. Yeah, so I think I might hold off on making vlogs until I get all the vlogs that I've pre-filmed. I think there are only 2, until I get those edited. This has been quite a dreary check-in, but I guess that's just how it is, and at the end of the day I just have to keep trying. Like, I can't just stop and give up. Well, I could stop and give up YouTube, but my life doesn't stop, so regardless I still have to keep moving forward. Next, I usually talk about my budget, but honestly I don't think there's many changes to my budget in May. I only wrote down that I need to top up $100 to my health fund because I went to the dentist last month, so I had to use the money that I had in my health fund. Besides that, my extra income from like selling things, from credit card cashback, from interest, I've divided it among my savings and also replenished my poor shopping fund, my medium-term sinking fund that I have completely emptied from my stress-induced shopping. So that's what I'm doing for my budget, but besides that, everything else is the same. So to end this video on a good note, I will talk about my favorites as usual, the favorites from the month, the things that got me through the nightmare that has been April. Let me talk about the books that I've read this month. So the first book that I read is the second book in Sapiens. I finished the 2nd volume. I've returned it to the library, so I don't have the book anymore, but here it is. I've talked about this book in my last check-in, the first one, so I'm just continuing to read the series. And right now I'm in the process of reading the 3rd one. So my office actually got our own copies of the 2nd and the 3rd book, so this is also my office copy, and I am about a third, slightly less than maybe a quarter of the way through. I really like it. I mean, I don't really have anything new to say about this book, but I just highly recommend it. So I finished the 2nd book of Sapiens, and then I also finished 4,000 Weeks. I talked about this book, I think I mentioned this book briefly in my last check-in, but I finished this while I was in Bintan, and I liked it enough to get my own copy. So this is the hardcover version, and it's such a nice, look at how nice the cover is. I'm a sucker for hardcovers, and I think this is such a nice cover for the book, but not that I don't like this one. I think this one is really classic as well. I really enjoyed it, but it was quite hard to get through because I felt like I had to confront a lot of my own behavior and my own methods of how I've been thinking about my time and how to manage it. So I feel like I still need time to digest what I've learned from this book, but it probably contributed to the way I've been thinking about the goals that I set for myself and what the point of those and what the point of those goals really are. For instance, with making my YouTube videos, the faster I edit doesn't necessarily make the work end faster. I still have the next video to make and the next video to edit. So maybe speed is not the measure that I should be chasing. Maybe it's more like, maybe it's something else. So I highly recommend this book. I almost feel like I want to reread it just to like understand it a second time. But I have too many other books that I'm reading. In fact, I'm actually rereading Atomic Habits. I read that 2 years, maybe a year and a half ago. But I'm just rereading it to energize myself and to hopefully give myself another burst of motivation to restart again in May and be more motivated for the rest of the year. But yeah, those two books I've been really enjoying. Another book that I also read this month that I really enjoyed was The Zombie Survival Guide by Max Brooks, The Recorded Attack. So it's a comic, almost like a graphic novel style. So if you've read World War Z, the novel, you would really like The Recorded Attacks, and it's in a comic format, so it's very easy to read. I borrowed it from Libby and I finished it in like a night. So I started reading it at night and then I continued the next day and I finished it within the day. I've been a huge World War Z fan since I read the book like 10 years ago, and it's one of those books that I never really stopped thinking about ever since I read it. Like every year, I'll have a short phase where I will go and reread the wiki page just to refresh my memory on what happened in the book, because it's such a memorable book and concept that I just really like it. I do want to reread it someday, but the thing is I read it on an ebook 10 years ago, so I don't have the physical book, and I do want to own my own physical book and then read that. So until I get my own copy, I probably won't reread it, but it's on my list to reread someday. But anyway, The Recorded Attacks was really good. So I really enjoyed that. Alright, then finally the last thing I want to talk about is this amazing Korean drama that I watched in April, and it's Jonghyun. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's on Disney Plus, not Netflix, and it's a drama that came out last year in 2024, and it's about an all-female Korean theatre troupe, traditional Korean theatre troupe. I don't want to give away too much because I don't want to spoil it, but at the same time, if I start talking about it, I feel like I could talk about it for another hour. Basically, it's been on my to-watch list since last year, since it came out, because the main actress, Kim Tae-ri, is one of my favourite actresses ever. I've watched a lot of her shows, except for that one drama that she did that was like 25, 21 or something. But I've watched everything else that she's been in, and she's one of my favourite actresses. And this drama is based on a webtoon that I've never read, but I'm interested to read. But I think it's quite hard to find an English translation of it. But anyway, I really love the concept of the show, and I was very excited to see her star in it. But I think because of everything that was going on, I didn't have the brain space to start watching it until I was in Bintan, and then finally I had the time to watch the first 3 episodes, and then I binged the rest of the show on one of the last weekends, and I cried so much. It's such a moving show. All the characters are amazing. So that has given me a lot of joy and sorrow, because Korean dramas typically have very, very heartbreaking moments. So I highly recommend it. I think it's become one of my top, if not the top Korean drama I've seen in my entire life. I think previously my favorite Korean drama was Mr. Sunshine, also featuring Kim Tae-ri, but now it has been unseated by Jonghyun. I think Jonghyun is my all-time favorite Korean drama. I'm very picky about Korean dramas. I don't watch many. Actually, I don't know, maybe the fact that I don't watch a lot makes my rating far less reliable. But if you're looking for a drama to watch, please watch Jonghyun. You can, and if you've seen it, let me know what you think as well. So yeah, that has given me a lot of light in this dreary month. Anyway, I've been talking for too long and too incoherently, so I think I shall stop here. This could be my last check-in if I can't find it in myself to film a May check-in, but hopefully not. And if you've watched this far, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sticking through. But I'm optimistic, I'm optimistic. I'm getting my hair cut soon because it's getting awfully long, and I'm setting myself up for hopefully a much better May. I'm not just gonna sit here and talk about everything that is going wrong in my life. I am gonna work towards changing and improving what I can. So if there is a May check-in, I hope it will be more optimistic. But if it is not, then I hope that I'm still continuing to try. And that's all that I have for you today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!